Crafters. In tonight's video, we're going to be making a wedding card, and we're going to be using the gold foiled flowers, cards, and envelopes. That's going to make it a lot easier and quicker to make these cards. And then we're going to use the Lifetime of Love cling stamp set and dies, as well as the gold embossing powder. Hi, I'm Joan Heberlein, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I created this video for Joan's Simple Paper Crafts found right here on YouTube. If you're new here, I want to thank you for stopping by. If you're a returning guest, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. That way you won't miss when I post a video, which is typically once a week. Now give me a few seconds to turn the camera down and we'll get started. Here's that wedding card we're going to be making tonight. And we're going to be using this here. It's a gold floral flowers card and envelopes. You get 10 cards and 10 envelopes, and they're already scored, so it's ready to go. Then we're going to use the Lifetime of Love dies and the Lifetime of Love cling stamp set. And we'll use this stamp, and this stamp. And then we're going to use this die here and this die here. The rest of the dies will cover all the flowers here, and then we have some extra ones that will create another flower. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, we're going to start with the 5.5 inch by 8.5 inch piece of cardstock that has already been scored at 4.25 inches. So that's going to be 14 centimeters by 21.6 centimeters. And then this will be 10.8 centimeters. And let me fold and burnish that. I like to get a nice crisp edge, so that's why I fold it over. And this is going to be our front of the card. So I'm going to open it up so we can stamp the inside. And I want to stamp it with our Versamark. And this is our Versamark here. And we're going to use this stamp first, and we're going to put it at the very top. And I want to center it. So I'm visualizing the grid. And got about the same distance on both grid lines. And then I'm just dropping it down off the top here a little bit. Then I'm going to take our other sentiment, and it says, wishing you a lifetime of love and happiness. And I can barely see this. I probably should have put the gold on there first. It stops right about there, so I'm just going to go a little bit below it. And again, I'm putting the stamp in the middle here. And then we'll just cover that up for right now. And then I'm going to bring in our gold embossing powder. And I have it in this tray. It makes it a lot easier than putting it on a piece of paper and trying to fold it and make sure that it doesn't go all over the place. I still get it all over the place sometimes. And I should have used our static guard here. I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to get it to you for in a second here. So this prevents static. It's powder. So if I would I use this first, I wouldn't have had static all over the card, leaving all those little strays there. So I have a little paintbrush that I use to get that off from there. And I've got one here. That's a store-bought one. And this is one that came with the stamping tool. The stamping tool has the... Oh, I went into the card there. The stamping tool has a tray, this, and the static piece, and then there's some tweezers. Let me get the tweezers too, to hold this while you're using your heat gun. And I'm going to clean this up here. I'm going to use this because I didn't want this to be here like that. I must have pressed it down once and then must have lifted it, because that's why it gave an extra image there. The same thing here. I don't mind it a little bit, but that's a little excessive there. I'm just going to knock these off from here. All right, that cleaned up that area. And I've got some up here. I'm going to get that taken care of. And I must have wiggled it here because I've got it off kilter right here. And I'm going to see if I can't use this brush to kind of knock it loose. And then I can brush this off from here. I think that looks good. I am going to just take this around the very top here where I had all that extra stuff. Make sure that there's any little embossing powder there. So let me get this out of the way. We're not done because we're going to need that for the front. I am going to cover it though because we won't need that till the very end. So we're going to use our heat gun here. And I'm going to put it on number 2. And it's going to be loud, so I'll turn the volume down. And before I do that, I want to stamp off these because these will dry up. And I don't need that to dry on there. So I'm going to spray that with our Stampin' Mist. And this is our Stampin' Scrub. And I'm going to spray it on the left side. I did a little bit earlier today, so I'm not doing too much. There's a watermark there. That's why I know that that's the side that's wet, and this is the sunshine, so this is the side that stays dry. And I'm going to have this off camera so that I can finish these up. So I'm going to stamp off on some paper just to get the extra off from there and scrub. Now we'll start our heat gun. So that is good. I am going to let that dry. So next we'll go ahead and we'll cut our gold foil. So we have 2 pieces we want to cut. And I'm going to need our Stampin' Emboss machine. And I'm going to use the big one. It's hard to get that to sit on this so you can see everything. So what we want is we want this very first pattern here. Can you see that? Now let's see, right about here. So we want to place the die cutting edge down, and this is the pattern we want. We have a number 1 plate, that's this one. A number 2 plate, so that's this one. And then a number 3 plate, that's the one that we've already did all our stamping on there, or die cutting. And then, because I'm doing foil, I've got a brand newish, I should say, number 3 plate. And we're going to put our foil down first. So I'm going to do this piece here. That's a small piece. And I'm going to use our small die for that. And I'm going to flip that around this way. And I am going to put a little bit of Post-it tape on there. This is not a Stampin' Up! Product, but it helps me to die cut without worrying about the dies shifting on there. Then we got our bigger die and our bigger piece of gold foil. And this is a scrap piece of gold foil. I think this is about 2 1/4 inches wide, and I needed about 1 1/4 inches long. I don't know, wide, long. Anyways, if you wanted to get the minimum amount, it would be 2 1/4 inches by 1 1/4 inches. or that's going to be 5.7 centimeters by 3.2 centimeters. And then this one here, that's the one that's 3¼ inches by 4½ inches, or 8.2 centimeters by 11.4 centimeters. And I'm going to tape this one down as well because I don't want this sliding past the edge. I could have maybe had a bigger piece here, a little bit longer. And I'll just tape it up here. That'll be fine. Okay, then we're going to put in our next number 3, and then we'll just start cranking. I am going to come back because when I cut the other one, it didn't cut all the way through. So I'm going to come right back. And I'm hoping that will be enough to catch it this time. I'm going to come at these from behind as well. I don't want to scratch the foil. I don't know how many of you have the brush that comes as an accessory to the Take Your Pick tool. I have it, but I had a card class last week and it's all packed away from the card class. So we're just going to go without today, but the brush would work really well on popping these out for us. I'm going to take this all out of here. Okay, this is dry now. Next we want is our vellum paper, and our vellum is cut at 5½ inches by 4¼ inches, so it fits at the top of this piece here. Now I can't just glue it down because the glue is going to show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue this down on here, and then I'm going to turn this over and put glue in those spots where I had glued it down, and then we can glue that back on here. So let me do that, and I am going to get the glue gun. I'm going to use my Sweet Petunia. This is not a Stampin' Up! Product, but it does allow me to do really fine lines. I have put the multi-purpose glue inside this bottle here, so we are using the Stampin' Up! Glue. And then there is a little rubber wafer at the bottom so that when I'm got it sitting in there, it's got it pinched off. And so the glue doesn't dry out while we're doing our card here. Let me get my silicone mat. And actually I'm going to clean my desktop first before we do anything else because I can feel a lot of the embossing powder. I didn't do a very good job there either, I guess. Okay, I'm going to put that all away, and we'll get our silicone mat out now. So I'm going to glue this down first, and then we'll glue this on top of that. So I'm going to go in this place here. I can put a bigger blue dot there, and then I'll start going smaller as we move through the flower. I'm trying to drag that down, because there's too much of a glue in that one spot. I'm squeezing a little bit and dragging. And I've got little dots there. And I'm going to fast forward now. And I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to try and center this over this card piece. And now we're going to put glue on this one, and we're going to stick it up here. And then we'll flip this over, and we're going to put glue where all the white is. And I'll fast forward on this too. Okay, then we bring the front of our card back in here, and then we need to line it up at the bottom, the two sides, and at the top. And then you want to put something heavy on there to get that to sit down flat. And I'm just going to stack this on there, and we haven't used this stamp yet. We've got to use this ink yet too. I am going to let this sit for a few minutes before we do anything else. Now, before we go any further, there are two other ways to glue this down without having the glue show. You can use this along with your silicone mat. So what you do is you put some glue in the corner and then you dab it in there, and then you would brush this over the back of the gold foil. And you're still only gluing the gold foil. And then I would recommend doing the same thing on the inside and going over where the gold foil is. And by doing it that way, it will spread it out a little bit and it won't show as much. Then the other one is to use these adhesive sheets. And what you do is you put this onto the gold foil. So you would peel this off and you'd put it onto the gold foil, and then it's stuck to the gold foil. Do your die cutting. You basically made a stamp now. So you peel it off and then you can lay it down. There's not another way to do the second part of it. You have to go to the glue. What we have to do next is stamp the inside of it. And I'm just going to position it down here. So I'm leaving about the same amount on each side. And I'm going to load this up with that Versamark ink. And I am going to use this powder here, so I don't want to have it go all over the place. And let's see, I'll just do one more. Then we're going to put it on here, and I'm going to line it up, and I'm trying to line it up so it's straight. And the card's not straight on the bottom, so I'm going to straighten that real quick here. So now I'm trying to line it up, and I'm looking at the grid on either side of the card and trying to straighten it from there too. And now we need to just push some gold back on here. And that looks pretty good. I do see a few stray pieces of embossing powder, and I'm leaving the rest alone. Okay, so I'm going to close this up so that doesn't go all over the place. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this off and use my Stampin' Scrub again. Now we're going to use our warming gun again, but I'm going to put it on 1. And it's going to go a lot slower because we don't want to melt this vellum. So you always use 1 when you're doing the vellum. And I'm going to open it up to go on the back side here. Looks like I've got it crooked on this one as well. I didn't have the first one very straight, and I forgot about that. I was going to stamp off, try it, and see what it looks, to see how to adjust that. See, now it's starting to come here. Now I only have the wedding day left to do. And I'm just going back over that because there are some spots that aren't completely done. And I think that's it. Now, you see how it's a little bit warped? So what you need to do is get that block out again. And I'm just going to make sure it's dry. If it's dry. So I'm going to put the block down. And I'm going to add some more weight to that. I got another block I'm going to put on there. And we'll come back and we'll finish up. I hope you liked this project as much as I did. There's many sentiment stamp set you could use with this card. How about happy birthday or sympathy? Why don't you give it a try? Now, if you enjoyed today's video, would you do me 2 favors? Click the thumbs up emoji, which means you like it, and would you share it on social media with your crafting friends and pin it to Pinterest? These actions will help me to keep sharing my ideas with other crafters for free, and I'd really appreciate that. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss any future videos. If you have any questions, be sure to contact me. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Just reach out to me. If you'd like to place a Stampin' Up! Order or like a catalog, hop over to my website where you'll find the Shop Now button. To shop with me, you'll need to go to joanheberlein.stampinup.net. Mark your calendars. I'll be back next Sunday, March 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time, and we'll be doing something from the new mini catalog. I hope you'll be here to join me. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight. I look forward to next time. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe.